Many people are crashing out. If you guys been watching news media lately, right? Not even lately, but throughout the last few years, there's been so many reports, right? So many people are losing their minds. You got men that's going against their own wives. You know how many domestic violence cases I've seen in the news in just the past week? Men taking their own wives out. Wives going against their own husbands. Family members taking each other out. People robbing and hurting their own family members for money. There's so many events that's happening, right? And there's so many people online that's crashing out, that's just losing their mind. You know how many people, I live in a major city, one of the biggest cities in America. You know how many times I've been in the street, I just see people that's just walking around, clueless. Like, they're alive, but they're not alive, if you get what I'm saying. They're alive physically, but spiritually, they're dead. Spiritually, they not even really there. Some of them just have a lost look in their eyes. Some of them be walking, talking to themselves. I'm not talking about like when we talk to ourselves, we make small comments to ourselves or small reminders. But I'm talking about like they're actually talking and laughing to themselves, and you can just tell that they're gone. You have people, y'all, to where they're gone. Their mind is not really there. Their mind is somewhere else. You have some people that's giving up on life. You got people now to where they rather fight and commit crimes on purpose and go to prison. Because to them, prison is the easier route because they get free meals, they get food, they get a bed, they ain't got to worry about being homeless. You got people nowadays to where they don't even care who they take their anger out on. You got people to where they will just go out and they will just go at you for no reason. I see a news story to where a girl, she just took a guy out just because he honked at her. I believe this was in one of those states like Indiana, one of those Midwest states. Well, he just took her out. You have to understand this, y'all, is that in these last days, many people are crashing out because a lot of people, they don't know what to do. You have a lot of people to where they don't know where to turn. You got people to where they don't even know who to go to. You got people to where they put their whole faith and trust in politicians that didn't work out. They put their faith and trust in all these different governors. They put their faith and trust in their family, their friends. You got people who put their faith and trust in celebrities, and many times it does not work out. You gotta understand is that in these last days, a lot of people, they're losing it. And the Bible did say in the last days, the love of many will become wax cold. You got a lot of people to where they ain't got no love in their heart. You guys make a small remark, you guys actually bump to somebody and they ready to crash out on you. You have to understand, y'all, is that in these last days, the love of many will wax cold. In these last days, we live in a society where a lot of people, they don't care. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care who it affects. The only thing they care about is themselves. That's what y'all gotta understand is that in these last days, you got a lot of people to where they ready to just give up on life because you see all these events that's happening in the world. All these wars and rumors of wars that's being talked about. Famine, plagues that might be coming. They keep talking about the next pandemic. I've been hearing that ever since the other pandemic ended. The next pandemic. So, in these last days, we got so many events that's gonna happen. And the movies that's coming out don't even really make it any better. Because you have so many movies that be coming out. And to be honest, you even know like what they got planned next. Because some of these things can be planned. Can understand this, yo. When you see movies like The Purge and all these different movies, right? You don't know if that could be a next step to come. Because to understand this, yo, is that when some of these movies, they're sometimes symbolic of things that might be coming in the future. Of things that might soon transpire. Imagine if something like The Purge came to pass. Crime is legal for 12 hours. Where people can just do whatever they want. And there's no police or emergency services to help you. Imagine that. In these last days, though, you got a lot of people that's just gone. Because you have a lot of people to where they don't know where to turn to. You got a lot of people to where they're losing their jobs. You got a lot of people to where they get on the verge of losing their house, their business, and all sorts of different things that they might lose. You got a lot of people to where they were heavily involved in a nasty divorce. Some people lost their friendships and everything, and they have nothing else to turn to. You got some people coming out of prison. They ain't got no family, no friends to support them. So, these things is causing a lot of people to crash out. And that's why you guys got to stay close to the Most High God, because you got a lot of people to where, since they're not followers of Christ, they don't know where to turn to. And since they don't know where to turn to, you don't even know where their head is really at. You don't know if their head is really straight. Understand this, y'all, is that as followers of Christ, this is why in these last days we got to be prepared. because in the Bible makes it clear that all these different events would happen. The love of many will wax cold. That's why you gotta be careful who you hang out with. I said this in so many different videos. You cannot be friends with everybody. You cannot hang out with everybody. I don't care if you want. It's not about being popular. This is not a show of popularity. It's about who you could trust and who's willing to go down the narrow path with you. This path for Jesus Christ, that's what's very important. It's not about being the most popular person. Because look how many stories we've seen of celebrities and rappers, all these different entertainers. They're popular, they're well known, and some of their own friends set them up. Look how many times we've seen that with gang members. It's not about being popular. You gotta know who to trust in these last days. If you walk in this narrow path for Jesus Christ, you gotta be like-minded people walking this narrow path. Because, you got so many people to where, since they're not followers of God, since they're not seeking the Most High God, they don't know where to turn to. And you got people that's resorting to all types of things. Robbing, looting, all these different things. I one time saw a statistic not too long ago. I believe this was a few years ago. And it was just basically like a survey. It asked how many Americans it was basically asked Americans for $1 million would they do like a killing for hire. And I believe 10% or something people answered. Now, is that the majority? No. But of course, there was many people who probably didn't take that survey. And number two, 10%, that's still a good amount. So you gotta understand, in these last days, you got a lot of people that's losing it. And you see that all throughout the internet. You got young people that's being homeless in their early 20s. I'm talking about early 20s. I've seen people myself, right? Young people myself in the same age group or even younger than me. They're walking down the street and they're just spiritually gone. They're spiritually dead. They're not there. They're playing their, drill music, that demonic rap music, the one that promotes violence, that promotes sleep around, the ones that I've done videos on numerous times. They're playing it, and as they're singing, they're mumbling to themselves, but you could tell that they're not really there. They're spiritually dead. They're not really physically there. They're mentally not there. And you gotta be very careful, y'all, because this is what can cause incidents like what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, back in June. I believe June last year, where the guy got up and unfortunately an innocent woman was hurt. I believe it was on the bus in Charlotte, North Carolina. But you gotta understand this, y'all, is that so many people, you got a lot of people to where they have a lot of evil spirits inside of them. And that's what's causing a lot of people to crash out. They're not following Jesus Christ. You got a lot of people that rejected God. They didn't want to go through deliverance. They didn't want to go to repentance. They didn't want to do things God's way. They didn't want to follow God's will. So due to that, they have a whole host. Like the Bible talks about legions of demons. How Jesus cast the legions off the man. You got a lot of people that's walking around with legions of demons. And due to that, one small insect has caused them to crash out. Understand this, y'all. In these last days, you got to always keep yourself prepared. Make sure you staying close to God. Make sure you got like-minded people around you. Do not just be friends with everybody, because this can get you in a whole host of different problems in life. Because when you're friends with people who don't really care about God, and if you got friends with people who have not went through deliverance or repentance, they're not serious about God, it can cause you to get caught up in situations that's not necessary. In these last days, you always got to have food, water, because y'all, all these events that's being talked about in the news, like wars and all these different things that might come, we might not know what's going to transpire next. And you got God that's sending a lot of prophets, his messages about what's to come. I've seen a lot of people prophesy about the next pandemic, wars to come, famine. So this stuff, the more of these events that keep happening, the more that's going to cause people to crash out. Because look what happened during the pandemic in 2026 years ago. You had crime went up in so many different cities. I believe crime went up even my city. Like, crime was skyrocket. It was much higher in 2020 compared to the previous years. So understand this, y'all. When these events happen, it's going to cause a lot of people to crash out. When the mainstream media promotes what might come, and it's not good news, it can cause a lot of people to lose their minds. Because like I said, you got a lot of people to where they put their faith and trust in government. They put their faith and trust in these politicians, and it didn't work out. So because a lot of people, they're not following God, they don't know where to turn to next. And this is what can cause people to resort to a life of crime, resort to doing things that's not right in the sight of God. Look, y'all, we got people that's selling their body online on platforms like OnlyFans just to make a quick dollar, just to make some money. You see, y'all, selling pictures of their body, of their feet, of their arms. And you got people that's buying that stuff. And that can cause a man or a woman's mind to have the wrong mindset. Because them, instead of them looking for a godly partner, instead of them looking to get married, they just standing there on all day with pictures. And you see, yo, this can cause people to get frustrated and can cause all types of different events to happen to transpire afterwards. Stay close to God. Do not let nobody tell you. Because you got a lot of people I've been through numerous times. You got a lot of people that's going to try to turn you against God. That's going to try to tell you, oh, ain't no such thing as God and all that. For all of us who follows of Christ, we all had encounters with God. So we know that God is real. God has spoken. I heard God's voice in dreams before. So we all know that the Most High is real, right? If you have a relationship with God, you know He's real. So nobody can truly turn you against Him. But understand this, though, right? You got a lot of people that's going to try that. And that's how you got to remain strong. You got a lot of people that's going to try to tempt you. You got a lot of people that's going to try to get you into sin. You got a lot of people that's going to try to get you down the enemy's path. You got a lot of people that's going to try to lead you down the broad path that leads to destruction. And that's why you got to remain solid in God. Because I'm telling you, y'all, for those who are not solid in God, for people who don't know the Most High, it's going to be some hard times ahead for them. Because in these last days, God is protecting His people. In these last days, the Most High God is protecting those who put their faith and trust in Him. He's protecting those who are really following His will. He's protecting those who are really who are really on the narrow path. People who chose to reject God, people who choose to do their own thing, unfortunately, they put themselves on their own path. And when you walk in your own path without the Most High God, that's how the enemy is able to come and destroy so many people. And then when Satan destroys so many people, that can cause a lot of people to crash out. We'll come in stories, we've seen that. Man loses his job, he goes to go do this. Personal and mental problems, goes to go do this. We see this all the time on the news. We see these events that's happening almost every day. You got a lot of young people that's crashing out. You got a lot of young people that's going to prison at 19 for life because they had to go commit a horrific crime. Understand this, y'all. In these last days, we need the Most High God more than ever. Stay close to God and do not be deceived, because the coming of the Lord is near, and unfortunately, in these last days, you got a lot of wickedness is increasing. Because the enemy, he's going to use a lot of these events to try to stir people. Listen, y'all, the enemy, he be tempting people. And unfortunately, a lot of people be falling for Satan's devices. And then this is what caused a lot of people to crash out, because all the enemy has to do is just say, hey, you already lost it. You ain't got nothing else to lose. Hey, go do this. And you got a lot of people that's not really spiritually aware that's the enemy. Or some of them do and they don't care and they go listen to the enemy's voice. And that's what can cause a lot of people to commit these horrific crimes that we see on TV. That can cause a lot of people to go out and do these things that's not of God. To go out and hurt innocent people. Understand this, y'all. The coming of the Lord is near, but unfortunately, before Jesus Christ comes back, Bible prophecy will take place. And unfortunately, there will be a lot of bad events that will happen. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all and just make it like everything's going to be peaches and creams. There will definitely be hard times. But guess what? God will keep His people and He will protect us and keep us safe.